Hey guys. So I had a couple minutes in between my meeting, and so I wanted to hop on here and just talk about something that was really close to my heart. I've been thinking a lot about marriage, especially with 2020. I've been talking to a lot of friends. I think that this year has brought a lot of new challenges to our marriages, and I kind of just want to bring a quick analogy to you and hopefully encourage you during this season. I think it's hard on everybody right now. I think either your marriage has gotten strengthened and has been made stronger, or maybe it's gotten harder and you kind of question where you guys stand. I mean, I love Justin, and God brought us together in an amazing way. We have a beautiful family, but things aren't easy. And I don't think things are always going to be easy, and that's okay because we are two different people. And when two whole people get together, it comes with your struggles, with your everything. And it just kind of reminded me of our houses that we work on. You have, like even let's say two people move into a home. Well, you have to blend all of this stuff together into one house. And that could create hoarding. It could create bad habits. It could create deferred maintenance because maybe the two people aren't as organized or something like that. In general, you have two whole people that come together. It's not two halves that make a whole. You're two whole people that are coming together. So you are coming together with your own pain, your own baggage, your own struggles. And when you put those two together, that person isn't meant to hold you or carry you. That person is meant there to come alongside of you and run the race together and be there with you together. So I say all this because I was just thinking about, I've had a lot of friends lately that are going through some struggles in their marriage, and even a couple of really good friends that are going through divorce and going through one myself. And Justin also has gone through one. It gives you such a different perspective, not only on marriage, but on your spouse. And I want to share a little bit about that with you guys today too, because I think some people see our life now and they're like, oh, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. See, God blessed you in such a great way. And yes, he did. But this wasn't his original goal for us. His original goal was for me, when I united with my ex-husband, to remain with him. And I know a lot of people don't talk about this. And so, Justin and I are always talking about uncomfortable things. So I will be the one to explain this to you from a divorced and remarried person. While my ex-husband is extremely happy, has a beautiful family, and I also am remarried and have a beautiful family, and God has made such beautiful things out of this brokenness and out of that time of, I don't know what you would call it, like just brokenness, two people where I thought that he made my whole, and I think he thought that I would make his whole. And when that need wasn't met, we both thought that there was no unity there. Whereas our whole thought process was wrong. We are two whole people coming together, and we have two whole people brokenness coming into a marriage. So the brokenness doesn't go away unless you surrender all of that to Jesus. So you now have two broken people living under the same house and in the same union. And that makes for a more difficult family life. So he had his brokenness, I had my past brokenness. We came together into a marriage and we had expectations on each other, and they weren't met on both sides. It doesn't matter who did what or this or that. I don't even go down that road because I think I played just as much of a part in our divorce as he did. And that's okay, because nobody is perfect. However, I didn't know Jesus the way I know him now. And that makes a huge difference, because I think that if I would have really asked Jesus to restore my marriage and really meant it, because I asked him, but I didn't really mean it because I had so much hurt and so much pain, that he would have. And he would have started to work on my marriage and restore it, because that's what he does. He's a healer. He's a restorer. But I didn't truly do that. I was just like, I have biblical grounds for divorce, I'm gonna do it. Or we start to justify and I don't know, just make what we think is right, instead of actually just letting him come in and completely change our lives. And we do that personally, and we also do it in our marriages. So, and that all trickles down to your kids. So Justin has the other side of it, where his whole family life, like he had children that are now also having to pay consequences for the sins of their parents. And that's really hard too, because I think we don't realize, well, it's okay, they'll have 2 households, it'll be fine. It's really hard on these kids. And I know we all think about that as we're going through divorce, and we're like, but I'm justified in this. But it doesn't make it better for them. It's still really hard. It still really sucks for them. They're great. Both parents are great households. Like, they have really great families on both sides, but that wasn't God's original intention for that. So I take that back to our houses. So let's go back to my houses that we flip, that we work on. We have these busted cribs that have been, cast aside. They have been filled with so much junk, like up to the brim. There have been little secrets hidden away behind closet doors or locked because they don't want people to see it. You guys, we do that with our marriages. We do that with ourselves. We lock away all of these secrets and we pile our closets full of trash, and we want to hide it away instead of unpacking all of that. And so when we hide these away for longer and longer, what starts to happen is our house, these houses we flip, the maintenance starts to go by the wayside. The floors become more saturated with moisture and mold grows, or we've had things where termites are now eating, like all of these bugs are eating your foundation. And, you have to, if you're thinking of it from a spiritual mindset, if you allow the enemy come in, you have bitterness just eating away at your foundation, your house is going to cave in. And so I always tell people, look for those signs early on. There's always signs early on that if your marriage is struggling, start to fight for it in the beginning stages before it's too late and your foundation is completely crumbling. And then you have to go in and rebuild everything instead of just fixing a couple of, beams and trusses. There's so many things you can do at the start of it. When things are starting to go downhill. Oh, I feel like we're roommates. I feel like he doesn't love me, or I feel like she doesn't appreciate me, or I feel like ... Those are the chances. Or you have this bitterness, like, oh, they didn't do the dishes one more time, or, they didn't take out the trash and now it smells like a locker room in here. Like little small things that don't seem big, but we hide those away in our heart, in our closet, and it starts to defer our maintenance. And then that house is going to start to be a hoarder house of guilt, of shame, of gross, of nasty, of bitterness, of anger, of frustration. And that house is eventually going to need to be flipped. And what will eventually happen is you're going to either resell it to somebody like us and we'll flip it, or you can slowly start to unpack each room and start to do maintenance on each room. It's going to take a long time if you've been married a long time, or it could take a little time if you start early on and you don't let it sit for too long. We love taking old houses and flipping them. God did that with my marriage, with my life. He took what I completely abandoned and was in complete disrepair, and I had closets locked and full to the brim. He took all of that and started to renovate it and started to flip it. And he then put someone in my life that filled my house with joy and happiness, and it was beautiful. However, I think sometimes that he, just like us, it's sad that we see these houses become so just like, man, if they would have just kept this up, this house could have been amazing, and we don't have to tear it down, or we don't have to completely rebuild it. We hate seeing the original design, the original plan for that house, not be fulfilled. So God's original intention is for you to stay in your marriage, for you to work on it, and for that house to flourish and be beautiful, and renovate it as time goes on, because we all change throughout the year. So keep renovating your marriage, keep updating your marriage, keep coming to each other and talking, or cleaning out rooms, because that is what's going to make your house, your marriage last over the years. What's not going to happen is if you leave it maintained and whatever, and then we have to come in and then flip it and do a complete overhaul. And at that point, it's now overwhelming for you. You don't even want to deal with it. You're putting your head in the sand. Same with your marriage. I'm seeing all these people at their wits' end, and the people that at the end of their marriage, instead of at the beginning starting to take care of those little small things that could lead to really big issues. Infidelity or unhappiness or abuse even. but start to take care of those ahead of time. Talk with your spouse about these things, these pain points, as I call them. Because again, Justin and I go through them daily. But since we've done it before, we recognize it better. And I think a lot of people have expectations on marriages and on other people, like their spouses, that are unrealistic. And you guys, they're just people. We're just people. And so any good relationship needs communication. It needs forgiveness. It needs grace. Just like you need forgiveness, you need communication and grace. So does your spouse. And they think so differently from you. And that's beautiful. That's great. That is how God has designed it, to be completely opposite of you, so that he can do a good work in you, in your marriage, in your house. He wants your house to be the most beautiful on the block, so that he can show off that house. You know, and it's not that you show off your house, you show off your marriage. He wants to show off your marriage, your house, because he has joined you together and he doesn't want you to separate. So he loves you. I love you. If you need help maintaining your house, please reach out to me or Justin. We're not perfect. Our marriage is not perfect. Like, not even close. We fight on the daily. I shouldn't say fight. We have disagreements on the daily. I do love and adore him, and I constantly have to come back and remember this exact thing I'm telling you, is that we have to do this deferred maintenance every single day. I cannot let bitterness or frustration dwell in my heart. I cannot let any kind of fear or shame reside. If I'm doing something in secret, I need to let him know, and he needs to be gracious and forgiving towards that. Because again, hiding secrets from my husband, whether it be anything, even small stuff, like, oh, I bought too much stuff online, which happens. But I have to come clean with that, because it's stuff I'm hiding. And if I'm hiding small stuff, I'll be more willing to hide bigger stuff later. So we constantly are trying to just better ourselves, better our marriage, and be the healthiest house on the block. And yes, there will always be clutter that needs to be cleared out. Yes, there will always be floods that come. There are circumstances in our houses that happen. There are circumstances in our marriages that happen. But we have to go to our great renovator, Jesus Christ, to help heal all of that stuff and help us renovate our lives, help us renovate our marriages, and renovate our homes. So it's just a beautiful analogy that was given to me this morning, and I wanted to share it with you guys. If you're struggling, we're here for you. I know it's embarrassing to talk about. It's okay. We have zero judgment. We have gone through so much stuff personally, and we know of other people that have gone through stuff, and it's time for us to stop hiding and to just be real with each other. It is no judgment. It is okay to renovate your house. It's okay that you've been hoarding. I know it's embarrassing to open up those doors and clean out stuff, but it needs to happen, because the more you hoard stuff, the more you hold on to stuff, shame, guilt, fear, insecurity, the more the devil will use it. And it's not okay. And I'm sick of seeing marriages die, because your marriage is worth fighting for. Your marriage is worth it to Justin and I. So we love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.